P. Williams, everybody. Yes, yes. One of my favorites. Old time. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Divine Love. It is a beautiful summer solstice. You all know about that?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I woke up early this morning. Because I knew something was going on in the earth. And we want to appreciate it. Because there are some things that's going on in the earth and we need to open our eyes to it. If we understand how hot it is and how there's flooding and how the icebergs are breaking because of climate change. And if we don't believe it, the history, y'all know about, the history of the ice age. I keep thinking about that. I think about that. It's like, there's times. And we come into a point where a lot of it is our doing, our meaning, people here on planet Earth. It is us that's causing the rapid change. And so when I'm in tune with the moon and the sun and all of the stars, it affects our body. And so I'm just asking that you all take this time in this summer solstice in this next couple of days. I think it started this year, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, today, maybe the last day of the sun is at its highest, to maybe do some grounding. Grounding means to take your shoes off and stand outside or walk around and just ground yourself, because we are one with this earth. We are one with it. And let us ground ourselves so that we be prepared to what perhaps may be coming on this earth. And we'll be able to be ready when it comes. I want to thank the Center for Divine Love for your love and support on this past celebration, homegoing for John Christmas on this past week. It was beautiful, and I want to say thank you to everyone that was here, those that was not, those that participated, those that prayed for Bria. Continue to keep Bria in your prayer, in your thoughts. It'll be times, I know, for her when she may want him and he's not there, and perhaps maybe we'll be able to fulfill that. Some things, not all things, but we may be able to fulfill some things just being there during this time, of course. And also for us as a church family, let's pray for one another, because, we don't do this all by ourselves. When one is gone, it's like, anybody ever, I remember my pastor telling me, if you try to do this, take your thumb and tie it and see what kind of work you do with your thumb. See if you can, how well you can hold that coffee cup, for example, or a mug. Because it's like when someone is missing, it's kind of hard. So, again, I want to thank you all for that. Our service today, we'll have our statement of being, our praise team, Divine Science Principles and Practice by Reverend Tia Atkins, our call to higher consciousness with Cheryl Brown and P. Williams. Our meditation and speaker today will be Reverend Dr. Howard Denson. We are still talking about truth. What is your truth? What is the truth? What is a truth? Our selection by Cheryl Brown and P. Williams. Our offering, doxology, divine news, Reverend Dr. Howard Denson, and then our closing. Let us prepare for our statement of being. And you can read along with us. Say it along with us. God is all, both invisible and visible, one presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love and perfect substance. I am an expression of God, individualized expression of God, and ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
A change has come over washed away all my sins, and He made me whole. My life complete, and now I sit at His feet to do what must be done. I'll work it well until He comes.
This morning's divine principle is in regard to how we, the people, are doing in our responsibility to make this world a better place. The way we determine whether or not we are doing that which God would have us to do, I think about God's instructions to Peter in the scriptures of John 21. Peter, if you love me, feed my sheep. So how are we doing in the feeding of the sheep, in the tending of the flock? Are there still poor people? Are there still widows and orphans? Are there still people who are sick, physically and spiritually? If we haven't eliminated those things, then we are not doing our job to make this world a better place. So you're probably thinking, but there's scriptures that say the poor will be with us always. That is not a prescription for your behavior. The prescription for your behavior is to love one another. Will there always be an opportunity to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, take care of the widows and the orphans? Yes, there will always be opportunities, and every time you see that opportunity, your responsibility, your duty, your obligation is to do what it takes to take care of that. It is not the will of our loving God, the source of every good thing, for anybody to be left behind. Then, if we are in alignment with the will of God, then we should not see someone who's hungry, homeless, hurting, and just let that go on and turn our heads and pretend that we didn't see it. When it is all said and done, we have to look at the man in the mirror. And if the man in the mirror, that is you, that is I, if we haven't done everything that we possibly can to take care of the sheep, if we haven't looked at 100 sheep and we focus all of our attention on everything's cool with the 99 and not look to be of assistance to the one, then we are not living in our full capability as one with the source of all good. We should take every opportunity to correct everything that we see that is not in alignment with the perfect will of our loving source. We have the power, we have the authority, and we must take action in alignment with our responsibilities. And so it is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Amen. Close your eyes, if you will. I would like to do a short prayer. And I invite you to begin to focus on today's topic, which is the power of truth. Exploring the transformative power of truth in healing manifestation and spiritual growth. Emphasis on transformational, as in it is available, it is ready and able to be manifested among the moment you seek it. Dear Lord, this message from God is for each and every one of us, and I emphasize that it's from God, it's not from me. So I now consciously yield my human being and thought, my mortal being and its thought. I now release it totally. I now submit fully and willingly to my spiritual being and to my spiritual thought. Your spiritual thought is always available to you. It is to anyone, to everyone. For we reside within the reality of God's truth. By yielding to human and allowing the spiritual to flow, I trust that I will diligently and effectively communicate to you God's truth and its power to transform any and every element of life. If you recognize that it is possible, if you ask for and yield to and embrace your spiritual power, and then act, consciously utilizing the power of God's never wavering truth. Amen, and so it is. We'll be examining today, you may open your eyes, the theme that was chosen by our beloved Reverend Dr. Nina Tumpe, which explicitly is the power of truth, exploring the transformative power of truth in healing, in manifestation, and in growth. Now, in New Thought, which I think of as the actual message of Jesus, truth has a very specific reference. It is one of several specific words utilized interchangeably to refer to the creator of all and to remind us that all in all is, in fact, all in all. One of those words is truth. It's used synonymously to refer to what most Christians would call God. Another is source. Another is presence. Another is creator. Truth, source, presence, creator, God. We interchangeably use each to draw a distinction between the traditional concept of a man-like judgmental God, so upset with us that a blood sacrifice had to be made of his son, and still most of us will be doomed to an eternity of fire and brimstone? No. So we New Thoughters mix it up to remind us of our straightforward Christian theology that there is a God. That is all. That created everything, including you and me and every living creature and even the energy and intelligence that comprises a rock or a flower or a tree. That in New Thought, God is good and only good, good and very good. In fact, God is love itself and only love. And that on planet Earth, we have free will, so that we may have a grand and experiential opportunity to search for, to rediscover, and to claim anew our own divinity. How grand is that? A wise divine scientist described it this way: the God source from which we derive our being calls us to come and be renewed in life, mind, and spirit, that we may then give expression to that which we received. To live abundantly. Open yourself to the spiritual resources of that all-encompassing God, regardless of what word you use: present, spirit, creator, source, God. And let this positive expression guide your life. Use it to compose and orchestrate your life, to be your life. That which we seek is omnipresent spirit. It is always with us, being us and being all. It is spiritually discerned, which requires only that we lift the veil of mortal thinking, the human thinking which hides the truth. When human thought is stilled, and in New Thought, developing the ability to still ourselves, to stop the internal dialogue, to be able to be present, to call upon God and the ancestors to be with us, to let us feel their spirit, and then to listen for that guidance, to specifically seek their help in accomplishing your deepest desires is integral to New Thought. This spirit flows from a higher region within us than the conscious mind knows. And stillness is necessary to tap into godliness, a necessity that in our electronic and digital and entertainment industry driven typical life is by far, for too many, never realized. Hence, those persons never commune with God in an effective, working together, planning together, creating together way. Hence the emphasis in New Thought on practicing meditation diligently. Because only when we are still can we choose to recognize and rely upon God's source, and if we do, then we will mold our own divinity. James, Jesus' big brother while he was in human life, who was the consensus leader of the church for the first 30 years after the lynching of Jesus. It is reported in the book of James 3:13 roughly through 18 of the New Living Translation. He speaks to the choice that we all must make, whether we realize it or not, to decide which of the two yous that you will identify with. Here's James. If you're wise and understand God's ways, prove it by living an honorable life, by doing works with the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you are bitterly jealous and there is selfish ambition in your effort, don't cover up the truth with boasting and lying. For jealousy and selfishness are not God's kind of wisdom. Such things are earthly, human, mortal, and unspiritual. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure. It is also peace-loving, gentle at all times, and willing to yield to others. It is full of mercy and the fruit of good deeds. It shows no favoritism and is always sincere. And those who are peacemakers will plant seeds of peace and reap a harvest of righteousness. Jesus here speaks of our ability to exist within God's way, the spiritual way, or not. And hence he affirms that each are capable of choosing to be godly good or ungodly evil. That each having been given free will, that we are free to choose to be godlike or to choose to exist as an ungodly being. But do we recognize and do we realize that? Do we even realize that there is a thought that you may live daily? There's a choice that you may make daily, whether or not you're even aware that a choice even exists. You live the choice whether you make the choice or not. Let's think of it this way. Within New Thought, there's two yous, a human you and a mortal you. The other is spiritual and eternal. Human and mortal, or spiritual and eternal. Let's examine both, starting with the human you, which is the mortal you. It also tries to dominate, yet can only with your consent, yet your consent need not be conscious. The human you can be stuck on hurt, stuck on mad, stuck on disappointment, feel like a victim, be frozen by fear failure, become an addict, be mentally ill, suffer from countless sources of trauma, be a mean and angry person, dominate others, hurt others, inflict harm, be a hurt person having been hurt by others. You can, consciously and or unconsciously, be predominantly the human you, feeling that you cannot control your destiny and thus have not become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's really easy to not even know that you don't have to be that way. In a million different ways, you can consistently invite to give power and dominion over yourself to the human you. Heck, most people would say that the human you is the real you, and that you have to spend your life trying to keep that evil self in check so you don't go to hell, when you end up checking out of planet Earth. That's the human you. Now, let's examine that other you, the spiritual you, which is the immortal soul within you, which is the God that you are existing within, that you can tap into to realize whatever you choose, which is appropriate. You can choose to be the spiritual you. The spiritual you can be in total control all the time. The spiritual, immortal you is always in direct connection with creation, in direct connection with the Creator, and is thus able to benefit from this relationship with the all in all, with all power of the universe, including the availability of perfect knowledge. And you can choose to exist within this spiritual you. All things good and wonderful and in balance in the universe flow from your spiritual self. The spiritual you can manifest anything, essentially everything positive and worthy, for one simple reason: because you are a little piece of God. And when you still yourself and invite your spiritual, immortal being to be present. And understand, you can't be both at the same time. At any moment in time, you are either being the human you or the spiritual you, or you're just kind of mixing it all up. So the more you allow your spiritual self to be your being, the less you are that other self, and the more godly you become, and the more consistently godlike you are. Now, countless persons have delivered this message, that we choose between these two yous, this understanding, which once received allows anyone to live a truly godly life, consistently delivering bliss to themselves and those who they choose to impact. It's really not a secret. It's easy to test once you know you can. And joy and happiness make clear that it works if you choose it and work it. Many have delivered the same message, that the quality of your life is a choice that only you can control, and have told us how to control it, how to use the power of the universe to benefit ourselves and our loved ones. I want to give you some examples. This is no secret, although rarely is it shared. New Thoughter Neville Goddard, who wrote many books, including Prayer, The Art of Believing, and The Art of the Promise. Those who challenged the beloved text attributed to Jesus himself, a book known as A Course in Miracles. A book that our very own Asar Stanton, also known as Gregory Stanton, states has impacted him greatly, called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murray, who also wrote many other books of truth, including The Miracles of Your Mind. Wallace D. Waddell spoke truth within the book, The Science of Being Great. The teaching of Jesus, that is, that survived the purging, the burning, if you will, of other Christian books by the Roman Empire. And I'd love for its clarity, got in direct conversation with Neil Donald Walsh, as recorded in Conversations with God, that series, Conversations with God. And that's just a sampling. Let's go on the New Thought side. There are writings of Ernest Holmes, who founded our sister New Thought, Religious Science. Mary Baker Eddy, that founded Christian Science. James and Myrtle Fillmore, who wrote extensively and founded our brother in New Thought, Unity Church. And of course, some of the early writers of our very own divine science, like Nona L. Brooks, who wrote Short Lessons in Divine Science. Melinda Elliott Kramer and Fannie Brooke James, who wrote Divine Science, Its Principle and Practice. Fannie B. James also wrote Truth and Health, Science of the Perfect Mind, and also The Law of Its Expression, as well as the book New Light Beyond Old Truths. This knowledge is there. Seek it out, or just try it. Now, please note that these are but some of the modern or relatively modern authors. I believe truth has always existed, but often folks have motivations to keep it hidden, like greed and evil, or from manipulation, and to keep you from focusing on who said you could personally own God's creation, which apparently is, of course, still the central theme, the central issue for Native Americans. Or what does it mean that 1% of the population owns 50% of the wealth? Or is it a pacifier of human ambition? A pacifier of human ambition to dupe folks in the 5 hours of watching entertainment videos each day, or movies, or playing video games, or being manipulated by social media, denying yourself the opportunity to be still and to interact with God and the ancestors, denying yourself the opportunity to be serious about working with your spiritual self to improve your own well-being. And please note, many of the writers and speakers of truth didn't write at all to communicate to a religious audience. After all, truth is truth, and truth is also science. And as science advances, science verifies and reveals even more truth. Thus, lots of folks have and are revealing truth, but who's listening? How many folk know that God is within them? Most just don't know that they don't know that there is divinity within each of us. I know that God has asked the Center for Divine Love, this very church, to deliver this message, particularly to African Americans, the majority of which are truly in need of God's healing and empowerment. 400 years of chattel slavery and its legal continuation has created a deep need for us to live within our God self, as opposed to our, rightfully to be angry, but needless to be, human self. We're in need of knowing that only we can heal our community, and that healing is exactly what we need. Healing will flow once we realize our oneness with God and how to utilize our spiritual selves to heal our culture and to hence live lives of joy and peace, of positive achievement and accomplishment, of passion and of love. Are you allowing the human you to block the spiritual you? You don't have to. Do you realize that you must consciously reach out to and invite the spiritual you to tame the human you? When you consciously tap into the spiritual you, you learn how to partner with the spiritual you, and the human you will be constrained and contained and not cause any heartache, or at least to simply make human heartache a symptom of a need for you to use the spiritual you to make needed change in your life. In giving your having unleashed the spiritual you, then you will know that you can calmly accomplish your deepest desires by trusting and allowing the spiritual you to be your knight in shining armor, clearing the path for you to take the action needed to achieve your desired accomplishments. It will cheer you on and aid you in countless ways you could have never imagined, but you must be clear of what your desires are, and you must act. This isn't begging God or the Spirit to do for you what they created you and allowed you to come to planet Earth to do for yourself. But Source loves you enough that they will never deny you your deepest desires if you're willing to work to manifest them. And if you trust that as a piece of God, working with the Spirit of God within, that anything great that you desire is possible. That is, as long as someone which knows the truth is loved on another enough to share the truth. And clearly that's what they didn't want our slave ancestors to know. When you share the truth, the new receiver can then test it for themselves and thus decide for themselves that truth is a path to freedom from that flawed human self and the impact of other flawed human selves on you. I want to paraphrase a particular New Thought person, Helen Zalat. Listen to what she said. You can do all things through your spiritual you, which is indwelling. Just let the light of wisdom awaken your mind. Let the serene power of love harmonize your whole consciousness. Have faith that truth will form a pathway of goodness for you if you welcome and allow it to. That which seemed hard can be done with ease when you utilize the power of your indwelling spirit. Know that Spirit, source, God, creator, the all in all is not limited. You are never separated from the source, therefore you have no lack. Give thanks that you can manifest your deepest desires. And the more you trust, the quicker your desires will manifest. For you can personally claim the transformational power of truth. As Reverend Dr. Neonat Tumpe stated, in healing and manifestation and in spiritual growth. Do not allow your trip to planet Earth to be ruled by the flawed human you. Bring forth the spiritual truth. You will soar. Try it. It'll work. It always has and always will. It is God's will. Yet God gives you the choice, but he won't force it upon you. Our Creator is always ready, willing, and able to help you. Although your actions, not just begging him to give you the power to achieve anything when you have been given the power to be in partnership with Spirit. You must still yourself and ask for direct communication. You must believe what you hear and take the paths made available. You must trust until your power to choose is demonstrated to your satisfaction. And then don't let up. The more you believe, the more you have demonstrated the power to yourself, the more joy and love and accomplishment will flow. It will consistently get easier and outcomes will come more quickly. But you do have to be specific. You have to believe what so many modern day prophets have revealed. They give the same formula. We just don't teach it in school. A few words may be different. They may say self, conscious self and unconscious self, good and evil. They might say the human self and the spiritual self. Some of the things that we know consistently apply are you must reach stillness. You should not focus on anything that you don't want to happen or will not be happy to receive. For whatever you focus on, you draw unto you. Know that with your spiritual self clearing the path, you can accomplish massive good. When pain and setbacks is proof to course correct, course correct. Know that you're here to live on and to serve others, just as you are here to seek and to realize anew your own divinity. Are you ready to embrace and benefit from your spiritual God self? Will you resolve right now to be the spiritual you in action all the time? If so, you will continually get better and better at receiving the love of God and the ancestors and of giving that same love and joy to others. You'll take pride and have dignity in doing so. And you will know the joy of knowing that you are a part of God and serving one another, thus creating a healing community of love so we can thrive beyond our wildest dreams. So dive deeper into your spiritual self and realize the power within to create what you will. It works if you work it. So, Cheryl and Peter, let's close with specificity. Let's examine the essence of all the purveyors of truth, what they've said. I no longer know where this specific list came from. It doesn't matter. All the books mentioned and all the books of truth kind of convey the same formula for manifesting godliness. It directly instructs us how to utilize our spiritual self to consistently realize our deepest dreams and create continuous bliss in our life. It's called, in this case, 10 Steps to Manifesting Your Reality, Your Chosen Reality. So choose well. 1, get clear on what you want. Be specific about your desires. Clarity and consistent clarity attracts what you seek. 2, understand why you want it. Set intentions from a place of self-worth and authenticity, not fear. 3, and this one's interesting. Release attachment to exactly how the outcome happens. Trust the process and live in the flow and know that God is more brilliant than all of us combined. Let him help you manifest your deepest desires. Visualize your intentions. Some people can visualize pictures. Others visualize through thought. But imagine yourself. Imagine how you feel. Make yourself feel the joy, the pleasure of having accomplished that deepest desire. See it in your mind. Feel it in your being, because that's what manifests it in the real world. Feel the emotions. Emotions manifest reality. Experience the joy and fulfillment of your desired outcome. 6, I think, should be 0 and 11. Take inspired action. You have to act in alignment with your intention. People will tell you, oh, just think and it'll manifest out of it. Oh, they'll say, that ain't nobody's secret but a fool's. God helps us help ourselves. Practice gratitude. Appreciate what you have. Appreciate what's coming. Thank God in advance for it, because you believe in the marrow of your bones that it's going to happen. That's why when we finish praying, we say, amen, and so it is. We're declaring our belief in God. We're declaring our belief in the power of the Spirit to manifest through us as pieces of God. 9, remove your blocks. We've all been hurt. We all got a hurt body in there someplace, maybe 3 or 4 or 5. And we can let them go the instant we choose that this isn't going to constrain me anymore. Remove your blocks. Clear energetic ties or limiting beliefs. And then finally, number 10. Believe in yourself. Trust that you deserve what you choose to manifest through love. And when you do, you will have contained that pesky human you and unleashed that spiritual you to be God's agent on planet Earth. That's the list, the checklist of joyous and productive life and godliness. Now you know. Final statement. Reverend Dr. Neonah Tumpe, our beloved chaplain's topic, literally asks us to use our connection to God to transformationally create for ourselves and others only godliness. To actually construct a life where you act as a piece of God, always where your being reflects God. And God is love. And love will always overcome evil when love acts to. Amen. And so it is.
Giving me a clean heart so I may serve thee. Lord, fix my heart so that I may be used by thee. No, I'm not worthy of all these blessings. Give me a clean heart so that I'll follow thee. Give me a clean heart, so I may serve thee. Lord, fix my heart so that I may be used by thee. Oh, I'm not worthy of all these blessings. Give me a Lord, I want a clean heart, and I'll follow thee. No, I'm not worthy of all your blessings. Lord, please give me a oh, I want a clean heart, and I follow thee.
We at the Center for Divine Love, we kind of changed some things around. So I want to ask, the next time we sing that song, we're going to change something. We are worthy. That's from the old thought. We are worthy of all the blessings that God gives us. So we're going to say, we are worthy. I can't sing, but that's what we're going to change. Yes, we do need a clean heart in order to hear what God has for us. We need a clean heart in order to do what God has for us. Yes, we do. But please note that we are worthy of all the blessings that God has for us. And as we speak about blessings, it is time to bring forth our offerings. You can leave them at the door, and there's a box out there. We don't make a big deal, but I think even not making a big deal, I think, Reverend, we've done some wrong here. Because, see, the way energy works, the way source works, is when you give, you will receive. It's just like outside. It's just like nature. Nature. The rain comes down, right? And it brings up a harvest. We have to. If we are not progressing in our lives right now, it could be because we are not giving. And I'm not talking about just to this institution. I'm talking about anywhere that you believe they need some help. I'm talking about also, it doesn't have to be cash. It's what you can offer. It's doing the work. It's sweeping the floor. It's vacuuming the sanctuary. It's shoveling the snow. It's helping in the kitchen. It's getting the children together. It's things like that. When you put it in your intention that this is my offering, God sees that and will bless. Believe me, I know that it is true. I know that is a truth. If you don't have time for that, give the money. If you don't have time to help, give the money. If you don't have time to go out and help somebody, give the money somewhere, and it's okay. So I think we have failed in that area here at the Center for Divine Love. Again, we don't make it a big deal because we believe that the God in you will show out regardless. But what we're doing now, we're just asking is, if you have to give it. If not, the kitchen is open. God bless you. Thank you all for coming out. We truly thank you, and we thank Reverend Dr. Howard Denson for those words of wisdom. Hear this message again. If you didn't write down those 10 things, you will hear it on Facebook and or YouTube, and you can write them down because he's right on all 10 points. You know, we got to not only forgive others, we got to forgive ourselves and start with that clean heart, right? And God will bless us. So I'm going to hand it over to Reverend Doctor as he closes out with divine news.
Divine news.
God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
We took it very seriously. We lost a few people to COVID, a few dearly loved people. We didn't want to be a source of the spread of disease. So we took the COVID era to try to modify our service, to create a flow, to have the right balance of theology and music and teaching, to serve ourselves well in the video world. We know that a lot of people will never come back to church. It's too easy to experience church at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's okay. But it's also okay for people to be in church and for people to belong to church, because we have to join together to be the change we hope to see in the world. So, before I do divine news, I want to do something we haven't done in a while. I want to explain to you how easy it is to associate yourself with this congregation, to become a part of the Center for Divine Love. You don't have to give up or disavow any existing church home, faith belief, or anything else. We know there's only one God, and we're all part of that God, and we embrace every element of that all the time. Want to go there sometime, go here sometime, that's fine. We're easy to quit. We're not going to try to hold anybody. We think that first and foremost, your relationship is directly with God. But we do have big objectives. we want to carry this empowering message to black folk everywhere and to everyone in need. And we think that God has blessed us with this facility and the resources that we have, has brought together a group of people of like mind and commitment to carry this message out to our folk, yes, locally, but also through the internet. And we're being about that. Things are happening as we talk. If Lucretia was here, she'd testify. We're finishing our new website. We've engaged a marketing firm out of Colorado. We think we're about ready to launch, but certainly this year, we're going to see if people will appreciate what we have to offer. So right now, I want to give those of you who are in the audience right now who have not affiliated with this church the opportunity to do so. And here's how that happens. You think to yourself, this is something I think I want to be a part of. And then you stand up and you repeat after me saying it, recognizing that we have both the power and the obligation to manifest God's love on planet Earth. I personally commit to expanding the impact of the Center for Divine Love and its Empowerment Center. Expanding it how? However you might choose. By blessing us with your love, by telling your friends, by liking us on Facebook, by helping out in the kitchen, by shoveling snow, but being a part of this mission that we want to carry to our people. So, anybody that wants to do that, just stand up right now. If it's on your heart to become a part of this church, to affiliate yourself with this church, just stand up right now. Okay, consider for next Sunday. Divine news. I'm old enough that I remember the Vietnam War era. There were massive demonstrations. It went on for 20 years. Young Americans were killed, and a lot of people wondered why we were there. And after the war, they converted a warehouse in Chicago as a tribute to those who had fallen. And I went there because I wanted to see it. And it was two-story, and hanging from the ceiling were 30,000 dog chains. You know, that identification metal plate that servicemen wear that says their name and their service number. 30,000 hanging from the ceiling. And I said, oh my God, we lost 30,000 Americans in 20 years to a questionable cause. Well, guess what? We lost one of our own in the last 2 weeks to gun violence. And do you know how many black men will be lost to gun violence this year at the hands of other black men? 50,000. 1 year. Imagine 50,000 dog chains hanging from the ceiling, and 50,000 more, and 50,000 more, and 50,000 more. And if you go back 12, 15 years, it was almost 100,000 a year. That's your divine news for today. We're not powerless in learning to love on one another as we've learned to release our rage on one another. We thank you for being here. 3617 Wyoming Street. If you'd like to send a contribution, send it there. 3617 Wyoming Street, 63116, or go to our website. And now we will end with our peace song. And I ask that you think of the words as it relates to you.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. every step I take. Let this be my sign.